Welcome to the Hacking Music Podcast. Here you will learn the strategic frameworks, force multipliers, and micro habits that are essential for thriving in the new music marketplace. It will also help you to massively grow your artist career in new ways that support, strengthen, and sell your content. Here's your host, John Pisciotta. Now let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hacking Music. In this episode, we're going to talk about something called the Cupcake Hack. Often when I speak, I'm speaking to myself as much or more than to others. So this is something we use every day with the artists and partners, the projects we launch here at Jetpack Artist Ventures. So this is not only for you, but it's a reminder for us the importance of why this Cupcake Hack really just strengthens what you do significantly. So there's 3 takeaways that I want you to be able to work from this video. The first is I want you to digest the idea and the concept of a cupcake hack. The second thing is I want you to be able to identify the attributes of it when you're implementing this hack. It's easy to get confused. It's easy to get kind of scope creep and try to win a Grammy today. You're not going to win a Grammy today, but you can build a cupcake. The third thing we want you to be able to do after watching this video is see the benefits that you and your team can gain after you've developed the idea of this cupcake hack. So those are the 3 things. Digest the cupcake hack, see its attributes, and understand its benefits for you and your team. So let's look at this problem here. The problem that this hack solves, so many artists are enamored with the vision of the career they want. They want to win Grammys. They want to be on stage at Nissan Stadium. They want to open up for Taylor Swift. All those are good and all those are important. But they're so enamored with the career that they want so much that they can't see the individual pieces or tasks that will help them reach their goals. For many artists, this is so overwhelming that they become hesitant to take the simplest of steps that will carry them from the bars to the stadiums that they aspire to play in the future. So part of the solution here is that this cupcake hack pushes the artists to focus on, and actually forces the artist to focus on, small, actionable projects that upon completion will help them build more momentum around their career. That big end goal remains the same. Maybe they want to open for Taylor. Maybe they want to play Nissan Stadium. Maybe they want to win a Grammy. That's all good and that all stays there. But the focus shifts to attacking these smaller pieces that keep moving them one step closer to that end goal. We'll talk way more about this in the project management section later on. We'll talk about Canva, slice and dice, sequencing project, all that's great stuff. But for now, we want to take that first step of understanding this cupcake hack. So this is what it looks like. I'll put this up on the screen. So there's 3 cakes here. The cupcake is the smallest one. We have the birthday cake and the big bad wedding cake. Let's step through each of these. The cupcake represents the smallest possible aspect of a project or task that moves you closer to your goal. It is purposefully small so as to eliminate the distractions and allows for greater opportunity to focus. It also limits the margin of error. It requires the smallest investment possible and allows for the fastest time of completion. By its very nature, baking cupcakes doesn't allow you to overthink things or to get stuck in your head. This is the cupcake. So let's step over to the birthday cake. The birthday cake is the next step up. The more cupcakes you have baked, the more success you will have with a project the size of a birthday cake. Once you have mastered the cupcake and made many cupcakes, you and your team will have gained enough confidence to take on something like a birthday cake. The things you learned while making cupcakes will be essential here. When you and your team think differently, focusing on smaller pieces, you are actually subconsciously preparing yourself for these larger opportunities. Let's step over to the wedding cake. This is a large undertaking that will require the most time, energy, and money. It includes all the bells and whistles, and requires you to utilize the skills that are not needed with the cupcakes and the birthday cakes. You have to create tiers. You have to transport it to the wedding site. You have to put the little people on it. The wedding cake brings with it the most considerable risk and reward. Artists who set their sights on becoming a world-renowned headlining act are attempting to bake this wedding cake. We strongly recommend postponing the pursuit of any wedding cake until your resources, your business plan, your team are solidly established and you put some points on the board. It's much easier to screw up a wedding cake than it is a batch of cupcakes. The wedding cake is larger and requires more planning. Its foundation has to be much stronger because the wedding cakes have multiple tiers. Wedding cakes can also have different combinations of flavors. They design the frosting to be much more elaborate. So the process of creating the wedding cake has more opportunities for mistakes. So when planning an important project, it makes much more sense to find a way to take a major project and break it down into smaller tasks that are much easier to complete and less likely to lead to the artist and their teams making a potentially fatal error. Otherwise, the artist will take on projects in their full-size state, which are much larger, more time-consuming, and more expensive than the artist is really ready for. So those are the 3 different cakes. The Cupcake Hack helps artists identify how projects can be broken down, better managed, and more easily completed. Such projects can range from planning a tour, developing a marketing plan, launching a new product suite. Managing projects like these well is important because each of them contributes to building your momentum in your career. Music artists tend to not make great business managers because initially they bite off more than they can chew. This happens when they're starting a new project or planning a tour or creating an album. They have great ideas and vision, but reaching the end seems like such a massive undertaking that many of them become overwhelmed and can give up. However, people approaching the music business with a hacker mentality will do what we call making cupcakes, meaning that they take that large project and break it down into many smaller pieces that are more manageable and less intimidating. The cupcake represents the bite-sized, easy-to-complete portions of a larger project. Think of the varied aspects of a single project more in terms of cupcakes as compared to a birthday cake or a wedding cake. So the cupcake has 6 important attributes. First is the small size. It's small in scope and does not take up very much room or require a plethora of supplies to bake correctly. The second attribute is that it's completable. Baking a cupcake is a task that is manageable and is not intimidating. Third attribute is that it's quick. You will not have to dedicate a great deal of time to bake a few cupcakes. Number 4 is the learning. When you're baking a cupcake, it's easy to identify exactly what you need to improve at. Maybe what you left out or what you put too much in. Maybe less eggs, more sugar, more flour, whatever. You can see the problem and fix it. Number 5 is that it's winnable. Completing a cupcake builds confidence for everybody involved. And number 6, the last attribute, is momentum. What you learn through baking a cupcake can be put to use when baking on a larger scale. So these are the 6 attributes of cupcakes. Small in size, completable, it's quick, you learn from it, it's winnable, and it builds momentum. So let's look at some of the benefits of using this cupcake hack. This is what happens after you've done this a number of times. You start to see these things crop up and really strengthen you and your career and your music. The first thing is supercharged learning cycles. What does that mean? So breaking down larger projects into smaller ones subjects the artist to more learning cycles. This means that every time they bake a cupcake, they learn something from it. They get a little bit better. Every day they bake a cupcake, get better. This results in the artist improving at that particular task. The second benefit is hope. Accomplishing these smaller wins leads the artist and their team to feeling more optimistic and excited due to the creation of momentum around their career. To put it simply, things are moving. It also helps you remain relevant in the eyes of the outside world because it appears like you're constantly shipping. You're constantly putting things into the world. You have some sort of superpower to do this. The third benefit is better music. Because you're putting yourself through this cupcake hack over and over again, you begin to improve at that task. Number 4 is focus. It's much easier to stay focused on what needs to be done when you are seeking to accomplish a smaller task. You aren't wasting time. You aren't Facebooking. You're not rabbit trailing. You're not on YouTube chasing shiny objects. You're staying focused on reaching the goal. It's much easier to make decisions that avoid these costly mistakes. Number 5 is the wedding cake appears. And this is one of the most remarkable things about the cupcake hack, is that focusing on the small things leads to the big things taking care of themselves. You can think of it as a novelist committing to write 1 chapter each week. Pretty manageable goal. After several months, the novelist would have a rough draft in place that includes the foundation of an entire story. They had their head down, focusing on these baby steps, only to look up and realize they had finished a marathon. This is a huge benefit. I hope this finds you well. I hope this strengthens you. I hope this gives you something to actually act on and execute within your career starting today. So we'll see you next time.
The Hacking Music Podcast is brought to you by Jetpack Artist Ventures. Create what's next.